Hello, everybody, and I don't know. I just messed up Instagram real well. I don't know. Hold on a moment. Avram, help me with my Instagram, please. You're fired. Avram, please come here. I shut it off. Please help me with the Instagram. My boy's gonna set up the Instagram, and we're gonna talk a few minutes. Everybody, welcome to our show. Tonight's show, we have Yin Tan. She is running for the city council of the 43rd district. Am I correct?
Yes.
We have, we're going to be having a lot of questions for her. She's running as a Republican, thank God. And we have her handsome, good-looking husband, Kenny?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure. I'm jealous of you, so I want to get your name wrong. You know what I mean? And Heidi's sitting over there in the corner, the treasurer, the every person that somebody needs the go put, right? They torture you, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Look at you. You're here at 9 o'clock at night, so what do you expect from you? You know what I mean?
It's
Hold
all
on.
right.
Thank you. Oh, you started it already? He didn't start it. He's just not nice, this guy. Anyways, so here's what our show is about tonight. Are we on? Are we live on Insta? He's not. We're not. Oh, push the button. He says, push the button. I don't know. Beautiful. I think we're on, everybody. We're gonna start really in 5 minutes. Our show is going to have, we have our live radio viewers. You can call into the show at 646-974-1580. You can ask any question you want. You could ask me anything you want. You can ask, can I call you Ying? Can I call you, what should I call you? I'm allowed to call you.
Just call me Ying.
Okay, Ying, I want to make sure, maybe I have to call you Miss Tang. Your husband's right over there.
No, don't worry about it. Just call me
Okay,
Ying.
good. We're going to talk about her beautiful history. She's an advocate. I want to just tell you who this young lady is. She's a young lady. She's an advocate for so many good things, and I was reading up about you. I'm so proud of you. She helps senior citizens. You're in for law enforcement, small business. I mean, you are my hero, and I have my quote of the day is going to be about you. You are a young person. I'm going to ask you what craziness that allowed you to come in. I know why I did politics. I'm tired of people pushing us around. He wants me to move over. Am I too fat? That's why you make me. I'm tired of people pushing us around. I'm tired of having a mayor or governor or, you're a big girl. You know how to take care of yourself, and I keep telling this over and over again to my people. We know how to take care of ourselves when we're sick. We know how to take care of our families. All of a sudden, the mayor gets involved, and we're going to talk about COVID. I'm against COVID. I was against it. Now, I know a lot of the Asian community was scared about it. I wasn't scared. You have to go to take your flu shot. You have to do whatever you want to take care of yourself, but it's not the government's responsibility to do so. So we're going to start our show, Yin, and we're going to Ying, right? It's Ying. Ying or Yin?
Ying, yeah.
Ying, I know. I'm sorry. I'm Jewish. I bet you don't even know how to say my name, Heshy. Anyways, you can call into the show, 646-974-1580, 646-974-1580. Don't forget, HeshyTishler.com. You can come volunteer. I'm looking for volunteers on June 27th. Me and Ying want you to come out and vote for us on the 43rd, the 44th district. We need you to come out on June 27th. This is not a joke. This is very serious, and we want you to support us. And I want you to tell us your website in a minute. By the way, Heidi, I'm not talking to Ying because she's going to be a politician, so she can't laugh. I say a joke and a quote. Okay. Nobody really laughs at the joke, but I prefer you because you seem to be very a happy person. So maybe somebody will laugh. Kenny, look at this. He barely can get a smile out of that guy over there. I love you, Kenny, Anyways, we're welcoming all of our listeners from WSNR 620 AM. Welcome to our show. We have Yin Tan over here on the show. She's running for 43rd Council District. It's a lot of you people in that district, so I want you to come out and vote for her. Thank you. Welcome all our listeners from channel WJPR 1640 AM. And, of course, 93.5 AM WVIP. Welcome to our show. And we're going to start. We've already introduced everybody. And I told everybody you can call into the show at 646-974-1580, 646-974-1580. But we're going to talk a little bit about her. In the meantime, we're going to start my show quickly. I'm going to give a shout-out to Sergeant Peter. You know who you are. I love you. Ellie, you're a good man. My granddaughter, Mira Alnava, gorgeous. She knows how to trick me. She calls me Big H, and she gets lollipops like this. Layla Tamar, and Yeshua, my brand new grandson. just gorgeous, and he looks like me, but I can't tell that to my son. He has my monkey ears. He's just delicious. Anyways, we're going to give you my quote, and I made this quote for you. Everyone suffers some injustice in life, and what better motivation than to help others not suffer in the same way? I think it's important as a human being to help others. And Ying, I hear so much how you do so much good. And I don't even know why you're getting into this. People tell me that too. You accomplish a lot. My clients tell me, well, if you leave us, you're not going to be able to do as much for us. Well, I'm going to tell you something. I know that I will stand before the Holy Maker, and I keep saying it over and over again. I want to help others. I want to see the people not suffering. I had this year, they just gave me a new count. We had over 130 suicides in my community. I'm not talking New York City. Young people, postpartum depression. It just doesn't stop. We're not taking care of our mental illness, and I go visit them. We're not helping our homeless people on the streets. And we've brought more migrants in, and our budget is $107 billion. Me and you, Ying, I'm going to cut that budget down. I'm a businessman. Some of these people in city council are just stupid. I don't even know if they know how to add. You're Heidi. You're the treasurer. We're going to have to hire you because they really don't know how to add.
No, I believe
Okay,
you.
107 billion. They went from 90 billion. You know what we could do with this money? How hard I have to raise money, and I've been part of budget. It's just wrong.
But in contrast, they're cutting the budget in different departments.
Right. They're cutting the budget on services and this. You know that they have just alone, and I keep telling everybody this, the DOB and the DOT and the DOH, they each have 5 commissioners that do the same job. And everybody says, no, they're different units. I said, but during COVID, they were able to go into office, interagency. During COVID, you were able to give more violations. During COVID, the sheriffs were able to work with the police. So let's combine the agencies. Let's cut down, not even the offices or the inspectors. Let's cut down the offices. Let's cut down the people who work in the offices that close their windows at 12 o'clock and make us go through red tape. Right there alone, if we show that we can cut some of them government things, I bet you and me, Heidi, we can cut $3 billion off the top.
I believe you. Yeah.
Okay, and plus all those stupid other programs that shouldn't even exist. And we can give more money for women with postpartum depression, more money for aftercare programs. Our children, you know how you have to run home at 3 o'clock and pick up the kids? And when my kids can't go, Grandpa has to go, they should be able to be picked up at 5 or 6 o'clock and not be called on us. Here's my joke, and then we're going to start the show. My son Abraham that you met, when I came home, he was about 8 years old. So when I came home one night, because I come home late, and as a father, I said, Abraham, did you do your homework? Avram, did you do homework? And what was it? He says, Pop, I had to write a short story for class. I said, okay, that's great. I said, can I read it? And he handed it to me. And I read this story, and it was like, great. I said, Avram, this story is truly fantastic. Did you really write it? He says, Dad, I really wrote it as Mom dictated. I can't believe somebody's actually laughing at my joke. My God, I actually have funny one week. Thank you so much. Ying, I'm going to talk to you straight right now. Okay? I'm gonna ask you something. You're a young lady. You have a full life ahead of you. In politics, they're going to try to screw us. And I know some things, how they came after you already, how your own party didn't want to support you, how they wouldn't let you come in. And I'm not scared to talk about them. I met them, The other day, I was told that you can't take pictures with certain people. And I told them to jump in the lake. Who do you think you are? We're public figures. We take pictures. I take pictures with everybody. And they apologized. But these guys came after us. The people in power are making deals with the Democrats when they shouldn't. We want to change. So my first question is before why you're a Republican, I want to know about your background. I want to know I've read about you, but I want the audience to know about you, about your family. Who are you?
So
where were you born?
Okay, let me introduce my background. So back in my country, that we don't have the right to vote. And we don't also have the
Which country?
China.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure everybody knows that. Some people can't see that you're from China.
Yeah.
But, yeah, they can vote. I love you. Yeah, go ahead.
So we don't have the obligation to vote. So as the people immigrant to the United States, they don't have like a hobby get out to vote. And that's why we are the most underrepresented group in the city and in the country. And that is why in the past few years, because I know the language, I know the culture, so that's why I get out on the street and talk to the people and encourage them back to, if you don't feel like something you like it, you have to speak out. For example, I was one of them that I'm not really get into politics because of the background that we have. But since 2018, a lot of my neighbors moved out of the city, and
Terrible.
I asked them why you guys have to move out. They say, "Oh, we don't we don't feel safe here, and we don't feel we're having a quality education for our children. We're very disappointed. That's why we have to get out."
I want to ask you about that. What do you believe in the public school education? How bad? I mean, I'm telling you that it's bad. I'm telling you it's bad, and forget the crime that goes on in some of these public schools. That we can help our people, And I know you're for law enforcement, but sometimes law enforcement is scared. We have to work with them. We have to bring more money in for them instead of defund them. Or do you believe?
Right.
Or should we defund the police?
No, absolutely not. I'm fully support the NYPD and fully funding for them.
I love you, but the Asian community, really, not that they didn't vote. What I'm listening to now is that they're starting to become more Republican. Why is that?
So as I explained, that I have been doing a lot of outreach in the community, and I've been helping a lot of people. Also, for example, when I get out onto different rally in 2018, joining all these parents get out to support the special admission school and the GNT program. And the Asian community became more active in the political field.
Really?
Yes, because as a first generation immigrant, we are very we're focused on the education because we believe education can change the life that you have in the future.
100%. She's 100% right. Education, and I always did that. I always fought for my children to be educated, to go through school, to give them the rewards, going to the schools. Parents, even though you're hardworking, and that's why I want those aftercare programs, so we can watch the kids, we can help them. You are, again, that's where our goals should be. I'm funding the aftercare programs, getting our schools better. Law enforcement, you're great. I want to ask you a question, and don't get angry at me. What do you think of your Mayor Adams?
Mayor Adams?
Don't be scared. You got to say the truth. I ask you a question.
I'm not agree some of the policies that he has. For example, instead of putting a law enforcement, he supported a lot of the community services. For example, he just projects a bill or the services, a program that, for example, the shoplifter, they don't push the law enforcement to put them accountable, but they're putting a lot of social service to help them. So for all these criminals that committed crime, like for example, we have 20,000 of the cases for the shoplifter in the city last year, and 1/3 of them are repeat offenders.
Yeah.
So does that mean they have mental problem? No, it's not. Is that means that they are poor, they don't affordable to get the life, and then they go commit a crime? It's not. It's just like making a habit. They don't feel like they doing something will have the consequences.
So you're not for cashless bail?
No.
Thank God. Thank God. I love you. I love you. Heidi, you work with she's your friend?
Yes.
How long do you know her?
So I met her because I was working on the Vito Labella campaign for Senate, and Kenny and Ying, they both offered to help, and they were a tremendous help. And that's how I met Ying and saw how active she was and how dedicated she was, not just to the senior citizens that she was assisting, but also to her own family, and how committed she was to helping just Republicans in general.
Wow.
Right.
You're good. I mean, are you only going to help Republicans, or are you going to help everybody? When we get into city council, we are 51 members that control 8 million. We don't control. We will guide 8 million people, and we're not going to sabotage them like these other idiots in city council did till now. And I'm ashamed of our city council during COVID. What do you think about COVID? Don't get angry. I told you before the show, I was against COVID from day one. I didn't wear the masks. You take care of yourself. You get sick, you stay home. It's nothing new. Everybody gets the flu, pneumonia. COVID might have been bad. You got to take care of yourself. You got to drink stuff. You got to wear coats. I see people running around. I see young kids running around. They think that they're powerful and invincible without a coat in the snow and the winter. You're going to get sick. They hang out on the corners. You got to eat right. And then you get to look good like Kenny. Kenny, can you say something? Can you say that you love us?
Yes, I love you guys all.
You're lucky. I like that boy. But my point is I want that when we get into city council that we don't mix into the people's lives. Our job is to manage the city. So you say you don't like some of the mayor's policies. Of course we don't like some of the policies, but I don't think he's managing the city correctly. His job is to manage the city. May I ask you a question about the migrants?
Migrants? I don't
Remember,
support
you have
them.
60,000 homeless people, 20,000 homeless kids. That's 80,000 that we have not solved the problem over many years. Now, all of a sudden, in the last year, you brought in 72,000. Now you've doubled our homeless issue. What are we going to do, Ian? What are we going to do?
Well, I don't think they should like send all these migrants to our city because we have a lot of people are struggling already. As you say, we have a lot of homeless. They don't have the place to live, and we have the housing crisis. So you're putting all these migrants in the city. Where are they gonna stay? Are you gonna put
He
in?
keeps bringing them in. He keeps, and even though he hollers and cries and screams, he doesn't do anything about it. He has no solution on the migrant issue. We have to come up with a solution. I happen to have do you driving?
Yes, I do.
So you know about the cameras on our streets. You know, it's
Yeah.
and they keep putting more and more. And they're not putting it in the fancier neighborhoods. They're putting it in our neighborhoods, in the Asian, in the Jewish, wherever we flying around, the Italian neighborhoods. And these cameras really, 50% of the profit goes to the contractor.
Really?
50%.
50%.
50, wait. 25% goes to the state. We only get 25% of this. Now, my question to you is these cameras are made for safety. Put them by the parks and the schools where they're supposed to be. They're not supposed to be on 19 of them on Ocean Parkway, 65th Street of them, about 20 of them, Ocean Avenue. In the beaches, in your community, they're just everywhere I drive. It's like, and it's not like you can control your driving up and down and 20 miles. Ocean Parkway used to be, I don't know, you're too young, but Ocean Parkway used to be 30 miles an hour and was a normal speed. Now it's 25, 26, and you're in trouble, and you miss the lights, and we get excited, and you have to get places. So I'd like to abolish the cameras. I'd like us to fight them. And yes, cameras are, if they have to stay, they're made for nighttime speeding, for the drag races, from nighttime to control it, by the parks and the schools. That is some legislation that we have to worry about. Do you know how much legislation that our city council comes up with foolish stuff? 30, 40 pieces every month. They don't read the bills. They don't read them. We have to force them to read it. We are going to read them. And we should be using the old bills that are in access. Let's not start creating new stuff. I have a question for you. I don't know if you're going to like this. Trump or DeSantis?
Trump DeSantis?
You don't have to answer.
I don't have the answer?
I like Trump. I'm sorry. I like him. He was president before. I think he has the experience. He didn't do a bad job. I know January 6th. I know crazinesses. I feel comfortable with him. I'm sorry. And I think DeSantis is not ready, even though he's a great governor, even though they're going to fight it out. But, Kamala and Biden fought it out, and then Kamala turned into vice president. So what do you think about the taxes? During COVID, our city council raised our taxes by 18%. I know that our budget is crazy. We need the money. We're going to have to figure out a way. Are you interested in finding a way, not just an excuse that it didn't get done? We have to sit down and go over these bills. I want to cut taxes. What do you think about that?
So one of my agenda is to help the small businesses. And I want to bring in the tax bracket for them. For example, take away the burden they have in the taxes. Like the less you make, maybe the less tax that you're going to provide.
Well, but the property taxes they keep raising on us, the water bills, they keep threatening to shut off our water if we don't do it. We have to come up with ideas that they can keep threatening our community. And there's so much that we can bring in business from other. We're the greatest city in the world,
Right.
and we're just losing all of that place. And and I'm going to tell you, the courts. I don't know if you've ever been to the courts. The red tape in all these 300 government agencies is just crazy. Sometimes it takes you months to get approved a set of plans. I know, that's what I do for a living. Just to try to get your Social Security benefits, you can go back 10 times. If you need food stamps, a year. Section 8, 2 years. Or when you're in a homeless shelter, I go to the ladies' homeless shelter here. Some of these women are there for 2 years, and they can be processed quicker. New York City housing, slumlords, when we could work with the landlords, and again, landlord-tenant court, you can evict somebody today, could take a year, and it's incorrect. In Jersey, it doesn't
I
happen.
it's more than years.
Yes, correct.
'Cause I have a friend, she has a case for 6 years.
Right, because they say they're crazy, or another story, or they make fake complaints, or we forgot to fix these judges. Now, I know you think they're state judges, but we should make changes. If these judges want to act crazy, we won't let them park here. Just don't park on my streets. We're not going to give them the privileges. These guys are crazy because they start, instead of 9 o'clock, they start at 10 or 10:30. They finish at 3:30, and they keep postponing the cases. No, they should make the system go quicker. People should not be sitting in Rikers for 2 years. I believe Rikers is a bad place. The jail. It's a bad place. Don't go there. I've been there. But we can fix it. No, but people are mentally ill there. They sit there for 2 years, and some kid that gets there committed a small crime and belongs there, after about a year, he becomes crazy or he becomes one of them. We've got to fix it. We have to come up with a system, not just close down Rikers, give it to some developer,
Right.
and make small
Right.
jails in my neighborhood.
Right.
And the homeless shelters, they're putting homeless shelters in the Asian community.
Yeah.
Just in our middle of our neighborhoods, it doesn't work like that. But again, the mayor and the Department of Homeless Services, we in the city council have enough power to do that. May I ask you about what do you think about the transgender?
The transgender?
I don't care what you are.
okay.
You could be anything you want to be, but you
Okay.
have no right to force your opinions. There's a
Right.
male, there's a female. You want to switch sides, but you can't just you can be somebody else. I was telling people the other week I lost my driver's license and I had to order a new one. Okay. They gave me the option for $17 to change my gender. I swear to God.
They put the X, right?
Yeah, it's just not fair. Are you crazy? What does that mean?
So you can be a man, you can be a woman, and you also can be somebody else.
It's not fair. I don't believe that even if you change your gender, you can't. If a man becomes a woman, he can't join the women's sports. I don't believe in mixed bathrooms. I mean, if somebody wants to go to a club and they have that, and you join and you pay a membership, that's fine. But it shouldn't be a requirement. And it shouldn't be part of anything.
So
You want to be gay, lesbian, I understand that. That is your own, the Constitution protects your right to religious and sex and all of that stuff, but does not protect your right for gender, and it's just crazy. And again, I don't want them teaching gender to my 5, 6, or 8-year-olds in the public schools. It is yours and my responsibility to teach sex education in our homes.
And also for the adult, it's like easier for the male to take advantage. For example, I was joking with Kenny. So you want to be a woman? You say yes, and then go to the ladies' room, and then you see all these beautiful lady right here.
I don't know. I tell you something. America today is. I love America. I'm red, white, and blue. I don't care who you are. My father came as a survivor to this country, and he was so proud to be an American. And I'm like you. I'm first generation. My children, now my grandchildren, and I love this country. I'm pro-Israel. I'm pro-China. I'm pro-everybody. I don't care where you're from. But when you're in this great land, we have to respect one another. And the most important thing is that Constitution. The Constitution was not written for hard times and good times. It wasn't written for COVID. It was written for when COVID comes, we don't have to follow the COVID rules. That's what the Constitution is for. It is made when times get bad that suffer. That Constitution is made to give you your right of liberty and freedom. It never gets superseded by anything. And we superseded it during this COVID crisis. That's why I don't believe in COVID. I don't mind that you had the COVID and you had to suggest to do it. I minded that they tyrannized us. They closed our parks. They closed our airports. They closed our synagogues, our churches, our mosques. And they told us what to do. And they threatened us. And they shut down our businesses. I don't agree with anything about COVID.
Yeah, our business have been closed for how long? For a year? Is it a year?
Almost 2 years.
Almost 2 years, yeah.
Well,
And they force us to take vaccines before we
Right.
can work again.
right. I volunteered at the hospital. I wasn't going to take the vaccine. I really wasn't interested. I never really get sick. I didn't get sick during COVID, and I saw people getting sick. And again, when they went to the hospital, and I want you to hear this, people. When people went to the hospital, they were not given any drugs. They were told they were given some stupid. I forgot the thing they were given, and a ventilator. That's not the way to treat COVID. That's not the way to treat pneumonia. That's not to treat the flu and cancer. There's something up. I don't want to tell you conspiracy, but something is up. And they scared us. You know, at nighttime during COVID, the sirens ran day and night in my neighborhood. Every night I heard siren every 15 minutes.
Right.
It wasn't true. Something was wrong. I went to the hospital. I videotaped some of the ambulances sitting there. They just wanted to scare us. I know you're going to say, Heshy, conspiracy. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. And I know that the government did. I want to ask you about the green, you know, your friend AOC. She's nuts. Please tell me. I mean, I'm not saying she's a woman and she's a young lady and she did it. She's making us crazy. She's making us crazy with this green machine. And you know, it costs 6 times the amount of money to create the green item than if we just kept it. You know, and I don't even mind that you're switching all your cars to electric. Now we're going to have to change our tractors and stoves and all of that. And the grid is never going to hold. We have no power to do it, and we're not prepared. And the emissions that we're going to save is less than 0.002 by the year of 2100. So explain to me why we're doing this when we can use all this money for other stuff, and the planet is going to save itself. It's not the planet that's bad. It's the people that's bad.
Right.
The planet saves itself. The planet has always gone through. I don't really see the what's it called again? What's it called again?
Climate change.
Yeah, climate. I really don't see it. I'm sorry. Maybe I don't feel the temperature changes, but I've been around for 60 years, and I still see the cold, cold winters, the hot, hot summers. I don't know. What do you think about this green and making us spend as new homeowners another 15% above our construction costs? Shutting down, you know, in the next, I think, 10 years, there'll be no more gas allowed for, I think starting next year, there'll be no more gas for any new construction.
Yeah.
And electric is more money. And you see
Right.
the electric grid in the summertime. They tell us, forget China and Israel and Europe, where they tell you that you have to, be careful with the electric, and they shut it off and on. But God forbid they do that in America. You know, we want my air conditioner on all the time. I mean, and they could do that to us, and I don't believe they're ready. They're not preparing new grids and so on. I'm against this, and I know that the city council has this. We have to do something about it. I know it's a national thing that we're forced into it, and we might lose money, but I think we have to do something about that.
Yeah, because we're not ready for that. For example, the green energy car, where are the people can get the charging? For example, the people live in the building.
Right. So at your own home, you can do your charging, but a person in a building, you can't have 10 charging stations in an apartment building, especially if it's attached. And even if you have a garage, which not a lot of people today have garages, you know what I mean, even buildings. And that's a good point. I didn't even think of that. But even if they come up with that solution, again, everybody, it takes 8 hours to charge, and then you run out. We're going to have... They don't even have it down pat, the electric cars. And you'll see, I was told by somebody, I was watching a funny video, that some guy ran out of energy, the battery went dead. And he opened up his trunk and you saw a generator running by gas, refueling the electric battery. So
I think you missed the point.
I know. And she's crazy, this AOC, really. Do you know that... we always complain about jobs. She shut down Amazon. Remember when she went against Amazon in Queens? Forget that we lost 25,000 jobs. Forget we lost people that could have built new apartments. And the trickle-down effect to all of our neighborhoods. I want to go to Amazon. I want to knock on the door with you. I want to cry. Please come to Brooklyn. Why not? Why not? Yeah. She can't stop us. We are in control. We bring them here. We can bring in tens of thousands of jobs. People will need them. Maybe we can come up with a homeless idea. Amazon likes that kind of stuff. That's what we should do, Yin.
Right. I think like her agenda is to stop education at some point. So for example, electric car, we should think like how electrics is generated in New York. My knowledge is 40% of the electric generated by natural gas in New York, and like 25 to 30% from nuclear. The rest of them is like renewable, like sunlight or water. But like think, if you own a home, why would we make gas converted to electricity and then heat, while we can generate heat directly from gas,
Right.
which is cost way lower and less pollution that way.
They just want to suck our money, and they don't let us at the end of the day to be successful. You know, Gates was so much into the vaccine, you know, from Microsoft. And all of a sudden now a vaccine wasn't that good, and they can't keep changing their minds. They can't keep forcing their opinions on us. And then when they're wrong, oh, it's okay. And they made the billions and billions of dollars, which costed us and took us out of and made our budgets go crazy and shut. How many of our people went out of business? How many people went bankrupt? How many landlords have lost money? And they get in trouble with all the things. The Asian community, I hate keep saying and picking on the Asian community, that the Asian community, because they're really our community. I have a problem with the Asian community that sometimes they don't want to come and mingle with the rest of us, or do business with. I mean, they do. I do. I help the Asian community with their homes and houses more. But is the Asian community more secluded? More? Are they more just again scared to deal with the other communities when they see that? But we are normal people. I mean, why are they scared to interact? Why are they so much more into them? Don't you think we can accomplish more if we fight together?
So as Asian, I grew up in China. So when the immigrant here, because of the language, because of the background, they're not comfortable to get out of the comfort zone, to get to a different community people to work together.
But I see some Asians that become so successful that when they break out, they just go flying. I mean, I have so many of my Asian friends. They just, and some of them are my clients. They just fly and they're great and they know how to break out. But they say a lot of their people
so
don't want to.
that might be a younger generation.
The younger generation.
Yeah, what I'm talking about is like the older generation. That is why in the past many years I've been helping in the community. And for example, my district is majority is the Asian community because we have 54% is Asian. And I believe that it is more, is this a place for an Asian to represent them?
I believe that it shouldn't be just an Asian like you, yet you're an American representing, but you're going to be representing the other 46% of the community.
Right. Why I'm saying this is because like for those Asian community, they are not comfortable to get out with other community at this point.
What are the issues in your community? What are your problems? Tell me. I mean, the senior citizens. Do you have a drug problem with the kids in your community? We have a big drug problem here, Heidi. We're in trouble. I'm telling you now. Forget the fentanyl. We're in trouble with the. I want to ask you. Can I ask you marijuana? Please tell me you're against it. I can't. I can't allow our kids to do marijuana. I know you people, you young people are into it. I can't. I can't.
No, I don't. Honestly, I don't.
I got to stop that law.
I don't feel like happy when I smell all this marijuana.
But they legalized it. Your mayor actually goes around smoking it and handing it out on television. We got to stop that law. We got to stop that law. I have another question for you. So we've got to open up. Do you have a drug problem in the Asian community?
Asian community, we have a lot of problem. Like they don't. What I say is they not really familiar with the politics in the United States. So they feel like, for example, they get out on the train, they feel they get hurt, and then they go on the street, they get punched. They don't like feel comfortable call 911 because they get scared.
Why? Why are you scared?
Because they don't have the habit to call on all these police officers. What we have in China, we don't do that often.
I got that. And may I ask you, why do you think that the Asian community is being picked on in these hate crimes? I understand why the Jews are. I don't understand. I'm sorry. I don't understand why they come after the Jewish people and say names, but I've grown up with hate and anti-Semitism all my life. I don't understand it because my family, my father marched in the civil rights movement. We were told never, ever, ever, ever to hate another race or peoples. We're one people in this great country, the great melting pot. I just love it. So, but again, you are right. Sometimes I hear people talking about the Asian community, and it's like they think that it's a joke, and maybe we have to fix the image.
That is why I have been helping the Asian community. If you don't feel right, you have to speak out. That is your right. If you don't speak out, people don't know what you need. they
I
don't
know
not
in
gonna
your
help you.
I know in your district you don't have a lot of senior centers and drug rehabs and especially youth centers. Are you going to fight for that? What's your plan on our senior citizens?
Well, I've been working with like volunteering in senior social service in the last 7 years. I've been helping a lot of all these with entitlement or without entitlements senior citizens. But I'm more focused on, for example, for those who have the entitlement services, they have the SMAP, they have Section 8, they have housing voucher.
Yeah.
So I think is more like, what do I say? So it's more stable for them to maintain their normal life. But for those without entitlement services, they are the most vulnerable group underrepresented. And
Correct.
they are struggling with like food, housing, and all this stuff.
And we have the programs out there. We just have the red tape, and we've got to cut that and show a way that all that money that's there to give it to them properly. I agree 100%.
Right.
You're on top of your game, and I commend you so much. Ying. I mean, we have a big job cut out for us when we get elected. I just hope that they don't push you around or trick you into stuff and to give in so easily. How is your campaign going? First of all, what's your website? How do we donate to you? How do we help you out? What's the deal? I mean, Heidi, you want to tell us what to do?
YingTanForNY.com. Please come visit.
Can you
us.
spell that?
YingTanForNY.com. Please come and see what Ying has on the issues that she wants to address when she gets to city council, and then also please donate.
Always donate. You can donate to $175, and we get 8 times the matching funds.
Exactly.
And I think if you have to donate to my campaign, of course, give me. But I'm pretty close. I would love for you to give her a donation and help her out. She needs to get in there. We need to get in there. We will fight together. I mean, we're going in as a Republican. Your district now, I mean, and again, I know you're 54% Asian and 46% the other districts, and I know you're going to fight for everybody.
Right.
But most importantly, again, the crime and the hate crimes. How are we going to fight the district attorneys that don't want to prosecute, like you said, return criminals? What are we going to do about that? I mean, we have to come up with a new law. Or my solution to this is that if the prosecutors don't want to do what we tell them to do, because we are the representatives, we just stop funding their offices and let them sit there alone and forget about the district. The only person that we can fire is the district attorney. But all his work is we just won't pay them. We just won't give him an office, let him sit at home in his little basement. You know what I mean? I think that we just stop the funding if they're not going to prosecute. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we should. That's one of my ideas. I know it's a stupid idea, but maybe you can work on that idea for me when we get into the office. Do you have any special committees that you'd like to sit on or ideas when you get elected?
What do you mean?
Like, we're all assigned to different committees, like the ethics committee. I would like to, there's nobody that oversees the Department of Buildings, there's nobody.
Really?
They leave them alone. Department of Buildings, Department, HPD, DOT, DOF.
But don't they have oath officers? And,
The oath officers are inspectors, and they're they're the ones who torture us. There's no, we have committees that oversee the ethics of the other people. We have commissioners we have council members that oversee mental health budgets. We have committee members that do so many different things. Nobody looks at these government agencies because they bring in $2, $3, $4 billion. The second or third most profitable, most government agencies that we have lose money. These are the agencies that make money, so nobody bothers them and lets them create their own laws. Oath had a bunch. Oath is the legal part of the violations when the inspectors go around. And some of these inspectors, and I promise you, eyewitnesses give frivolous violations. Not one. When they come to your house, they should give you one. They write 5. And the fines are 5 times the amount. And there's a new law they just came up with that if you get 2 violations, it's called multiple violations, your fine's double, which is not fair. If you're there at the same time, you can't write the same violations in a different wording. So these oath people take the violation and they have to follow the law. When we started to learn how to beat them, They changed the entire law. They changed all the codes. Now we can't beat them anymore because they figured out a way to beat us. Now we're figuring out again how to go after them. But they write frivolous violations. You know, we have 17th Avenue and 16th Avenue.
Yeah.
A couple weeks ago, we had a holiday. They issued every house a garbage ticket.
What?
Yeah, every house down 17th Avenue, because they had, it was a windy day and it was a holiday and people pulled their garbage in and maybe they didn't sweep up and they just went right across the board. This past Sunday was last Sunday, the Jewish Shavuos holiday, so we don't, you don't pay your
Meter.
meters on Sunday, so we have to pay meters on Sunday, but we get it off on Saturday.
Yeah.
So the holiday this year was on Friday. And they didn't give us a suspension of it, and people who parked there all got tickets, even though there was no traffic, no driving in the community, one by one by one. Again, they abuse the privileges, or they see the lower communities, or they get us on garbage tickets. They don't give us a break. I mean, there's this rat thing. Do you see rats? I know there's rats all over. But they give, if one of the inspectors say he saw rat droppings, you get a violation. Not that he saw rats on your property. These guys can make up their laws as they go along, so nobody views them. You have inspectors that we actually caught on videotape lying. And that's another thing I want to ask you. Do you believe in the First Amendment that we can go around videotaping our police officers and our inspectors and our public officials?
You mean taking all this?
Watch them, follow them with the cameras, and not be scared. They always scream at us, you got to stand back, you can't videotape me. We should be, the First Amendment allows it. There's no question about it. I don't even want to hear anything about it.
Yes.
But these guys scare us, or they can threaten us, or they can push us around when we're videotaping it. And I'm a First Amendment auditor, and I believed constantly, if you have a camera, you film the cops, you follow them, and make sure, and I love the police officers. But some of these inspectors, they call and scream, oh, he's following me. And they call the cops on me that I follow them. Because I see them doing wrong things. I see them climbing over fences. I see them pushing their way in. I was fighting with a fire department guy, and I love the fire department. I was fighting with a fire department guy and an inspector. And they called the police on me. And they said, we can go in there. I said, you can't go in there without a warrant. We can do whatever we want. And I said, but the Constitution. He says, oh, it's mumble jumble. Don't quote me the Constitution now. It's mumble jumble for safety. I said, no, the Fourth Amendment says even for safety you can't break the Constitution. Some of these guys are so vigorous to give us the violation, or they so hateful of, I'm embarrassed to tell you this story. I was doing an inspection for a Chinese lady in Queens. She was American already 2 generations. Okay. Wealthy lady, had like 4 buildings, and she failed inspection. She tried to do something herself on a sprinkler, and she failed inspection. And this was a classy lady with a building and educated. You should speak to her, Heidi. You would jump up for joy. The inspector showed up he came to the site. And I usually tell my people, don't talk. Because you always have, just like when you're in court, you shut up, let me do the talking, that's why I'm hired. And I got there. And I said to him, well, she's not part of, she doesn't know what's going on so much, she has the building. And I try to say, like the Jewish people, stand back and make believe you don't know what's going on and let the expert do the job. And he starts screaming, these Chinese people, they should learn to speak English. They own these property right there in front of her. Oh, and he says, speak English, and she understood it, but I told her, no matter what he says, you shut your mouth, you take it like a woman. You know why? Because we need to win. Whatever it takes, let them insult us. But these inspectors and some of the police officers, they have a bad day, they take it out on us. Especially if you're part of a part of a demographic where, like you said, the Asian people, we want to stay quiet and we want to not fight back. A lot of my people in the community are angry at me because I fought back and I made noise. I will continue to make noise. I will always make noise. I will never let them take advantage of me and my neighbors. And I will fight for, when I get to city council, I'm going to be fighting for your community like I'm going to drag you into fighting for my community.
Right.
Has any other politicians or anybody has come to you or spoken to you about your race?
No.
So they're just letting you fly on your own?
Yes.
And the Republican Party doesn't even, what I understand, they didn't even let you come for an interview.
Well, they didn't offer me an interview.
Did you even ask them?
Well, they actually called me and asked for the basic information. That's it. And then the next day they say, oh, we don't want you here.
Really? And this is our own party, our own Republican Party. By the way, have you? I can't. You don't want to answer me, Trump DeSantis. I gotta get an answer out of you.
No. I really want to answer you, but yeah, you want me to answer that?
Yeah.
Okay, so Trump has a big mouth, but I love his policy because he always put American first.
Right.
And as we in a nation that America that we live in, we have to put American first.
Always. What is the community that you live in? What do they feel? I know a lot of the Asians love Trump, and they really don't care much about DeSantis. You're
some of
more
them.
knowledgeable and more up to date. I got that. But the people are the one that choose, and the people feel. I believe the Asian community, the Jewish community, many, and I'm hoping more of the Latino and the Black community are going to be swayed to come to Trump. But New York, as you know, is a Democratic town and state, and we've got
Right.
to change that.
So that is what I have been doing to the Asian community. I get people get out to vote, get out to speak up. For example, if you feel something is injustice, you have to come up to speak up. This is one thing that I'm standing for, and one thing that I'm telling them, and that is why we have been more Republican in the Asian community right now.
Is
Yes.
the Asian community really turning more Republican? I mean, do you? So you believe? Let's just say that you have is there somebody running on the Democratic ticket?
Democratic ticket? Yes, they
Who?
are. We have 3 of them.
So when you win the Republican line, you will be going against a Democratic guy.
Right.
Do you believe that you will beat him?
Yes.
Who are those people there?
So we have Wei Chen, we have Susan Zhang, and Stanley Young.
And I understand Susan. What's her name?
Susan Zhang?
So she's also Chinese, right?
Yes.
So she would be their lead candidate, and the other one's not. She would be the front runner for the Democrats.
I'm not sure. They have 3 candidates right now, so you have to file until June 27.
27, I
Yeah.
got you. But will the Asian people in your community, are they going to go? I mean, I understood they always went Democrat, and you hear now they're going Republican.
Right.
Do you believe that the Republicans, and what I heard from your camp and your people, that you're going to crush them?
Well, I'm very confident that people are more voting on the Republican line because in the last few years, they realized the education problem, they realized of the public safety, and they don't have much faith with the Democrat anymore. And that is why I've been telling the people, if you believe and honor the law and order, you have to vote for a Republican. And that is why I successfully switching all these Democrat Asian
Oh
community
yeah, they are.
to the Republican Party.
But do the Asian people come out to vote?
Yes.
They do come.
They're getting more. And
they-
that is one thing I've been working very hard on it. And that is also why I say we have to get an Asian to be represent all these Asian, because when they feel comfortable and then get more mature and willing to stand up for themselves, and then we have more registered voters for the Asian community. Of course, this is a melting pot of the community. I'm not really only representing Asian community, but also Russian, Jewish, all these.
Do you have a Russian community in your? You have.
We have some.
Yeah.
You
But-
guys are actually neighbors.
Right.
I know that we are. She's trying to steal a lot of my Asian people. You know what I mean?
Oh my.
I finally got them, and now I lost them. You know what I mean? Yes, took my people. It took me too long to train them, and now you just stole them from me. I let you borrow them for a while, but we're going into city council together, so we're going to be
Right,
partners
right.
over there. What do you think about the small business owners being ticketed and fined? I mean, all these government agencies, they go after the little businesses left and right because they're easy pickings, especially the Asian people. They put out their little stands. They're 10 inches too far out. They didn't sweep up fast enough, and they get these tickets. And a lot of what I see, that a lot of the Asian people are scared and they just pay the fines. And these fines, I know that it's the cost of doing business, but some of them are struggling because their fines are crazy.
Right.
We have to stop that. immediately, and that's again one of the things that I want to oversee, and that's a committee that I want to create that oversees these crazy government agencies that are not being overseen, and this is just 5 of them that I mentioned, and that's what I told you. Each of these agencies. And I want you to, I'm explaining it to you now because when we get into city councils, each one has a commission in each borough, which we have to fund. Each agency has a commissioner for each borough. So just the 5 agencies I mentioned have the identical commissioner for each borough. Sanitation, Department of Buildings, Department of Housing, HP, all of them. Now each of them have assistants and then have the head commissioner for each one and have assistant commissioners and then have chiefs. You know, it's not fair, and they pretty much do the same job. Remember, they're office personnel. They're not small. We got a phone call. Who's calling on the phone? Put them through. We got a couple minutes to speak to Yin Tang. Who's on the phone?
Your cousin, Lenny.
Lenny, do you see who I have sitting next to me? Is she in you? Oh, you're in Staten Island. You see this lovely young lady. What do you think about her?
Well, I think that she has the right mark. That Chinese more involved in voting. I mean, they have a voice. You have to use it. That's the main thing.
You have a question for her? Do you think that her?
I actually, as I'm watching the podcast, and you touched on a lot of different things, and not to roll backwards, but what you said about the electric cars, you can't throw away a battery in your house. You have to dispose of it properly. Right. So my question is, what are they going to do with all these electric batteries in these cars when, down the line, 6 years from now, that you have to replace them? What are they going to do with that? And as far as the transgender that you talked about earlier, I don't think these corporations are learning. What happened to Budweiser, they're down over 25% in sales. And then you got Target now. They lost $10 million or something, or was it billion?
Well,
You're throwing these things down our throat.
Right. I was asking Ingrid, and again, like he said, they're throwing it down our throats. It shouldn't be that they have a right to throw that down our throats. Mm-hmm. And,
these are signs that America might be changing now, because when you see the input that the same as voting, we have a power. And if people realize this, they can stop this.
Well, it's Lenny. You see, I want to stop you, Lenny. That's the power you're talking about, the people. But me and Yin are going to have to change policy. For example, Yin and Lenny, I'm sure you're involved with this. You know what alternate side of the street parking is? Now, where you have to move your car twice a week and a certain time, and there's no parking as is. We have a problem with that. Like yesterday, I was having a fight with my wife. That everybody moved their cars, and the sweeper came through at about I think it was 9:30, and there was no reason to leave alternate side on the thing. If the app shows that he passed, you should be allowed to park there. Today, everything is with apps and so on. We should be able to change that. And buses should not be allowed to park on the street. Now, I feel bad for the school buses and the children. So during the day, there's nothing I could do about it. But at nighttime, they should not be parked taking up the spots. We should create municipal lots.
But again, and not to put the finger on your community, but look who's parking the buses.
I agree.
Look at Williamsburg.
But again, but we have, you see, you can complain about it, Lenny, but we haven't come up with a solution for them. There's nowhere for them to go.
Why does the landscaper have to put his truck in a fenced-in area or a garage at night, and these buses can just stay out?
Commercial vehicles cannot park on the street. You're 100% correct. We have to create commercial lots that we could put, that people can go there, park there at night. There was a beautiful parking lot on.
The problem with that, Heshy, is everybody wants to build. They see a vacant lot. They want to put a high-riser up. It's all about the money. It always.
Again, I'm not taking that away from the people. What I want to do is there are lots that are wasted that belong to the city, and they give it away. And for example, we have the sanitary.
There's buildings that belong to the city, but yet they won't house the migrants in there. They'll just put them in hotels.
You know that $39 million is being given to a hotel for migrants, for 200-something migrants?
They're getting
39, they get more. Did you hear what Ying just said? They get more.
Yes. I mean, what you're going into city council.
We want to say goodbye to a lot of. We have to say goodbye to our listeners. They're getting off the air from W. Thank you for listening to our show. For some of the listeners from our WSNR 1640 and 93.5, thank you for listening to our show. Now we're back down to the smaller crowd, but that's okay. We're good. But you see, you guys are complaining, and we need to get elected. Once you elect us, we are the solutions. We are the people.
Well, you know what? How does a Republican, including your guest, get elected into this city when the Democratic Party gives away the store? How do you fight that? How do you? Please, I'm all ears.
He's right. They
But
give
how
away
do you
the store.
turn New York into Republican when the Democrats are giving away the store?
He's right. We have to stop that. We have to stop that. We have to stop our leaders from just taking from the Democrats and saying, listen, enough, and we're going to make change in our leadership, especially the leadership of the Brooklyn Republican Party. I think it's time for our leaders to go. They just have done nothing. They've accomplished nothing, and they're just too busy working with the Democrats. I understand we have to be bipartisan, but you just keep giving, like Lenny just said, you keep giving them, and they give away the store.
Heshy, I think 2 weeks ago I asked you this question. With all the money going to the migrants, everybody knows, you and I and your guest probably knows it too. When the school year comes around in September, there's always in the newspapers and on the TV news how in the lower income neighborhoods, how they're giving away school bags, backpacks, pencils, glue, everything that the child needs for school. Well, my question is this. Are they going to be able to do that this year? With all the money that they're giving to the migrants, are the poorer neighborhoods going to really suffer? Because I think they are.
That's a good question. Lenny, thank you for calling in. I want to ask Ying one more question, and a very important question.
Good luck.
Thank you. Ying, before we end the show, I want to ask you something serious. I understand that you and me are going to protect our Constitution. What do you think about guns? Guns, weapons. I don't have to tell you about the shootings and the killings and the 2,000 shootings last year, the 453 murders, and it's just crazy that the robberies, 20,000 felonies, 11,000 armed robberies. I don't know. I believe you should be allowed to carry a gun, but then I don't know. What is your opinion on gun control? Just asking people to bring in guns and give them money. They only collected 255 guns by people turning in. Half of them were broken. What do you think of this? Do we make harsher laws, or do we allow everybody to carry a gun?
Well, like both of the criminals that have the committed crime with the gun is the illegal guns. It's not the legal ones.
I got that. So are you going to let the rest of us, because they're not, for us to get a gun is so impossible. God forbid you have a felony for something stupid like check fraud, or you did something stupid like you said, shoplifting. You can never get a gun to protect you, even though you cleaned up your life and you lived 30 years of a good life. I'm against guns because I'm scared. I personally am scared of guns. But then again, my friend Christopher Messi says guns is what protects him. Florida has no problem with guns and concealed guns. What do you think? Do you let Kenny walk around with a gun?
Well, I would say, for guns, how about take the guns away from the criminals?
We can't. Seems like we can't. They're never going to be taken away, and they keep shooting us. So I'm asking her, do we get our guns to shoot back?
Well, I think the most important thing, guns do not kill people. People kill people. So we should tackle the problems directly. Why people are killing people. Guns itself, it can be protecting people or it can be killing
So
people.
how come they're not letting us get guns? Everybody in the street, to get a gun permit and license is almost impossible.
Well, that's their problem. They thought that the people with a legal gun are the killers.
Well, I want to know if we should look into this and see maybe we should ease up the restrictions and let people carry guns. But then again, 8 million people walking around with guns, that's going to be crazy. I don't know. Thank you, everybody, for watching our show tonight. Ying, you were just wonderful. Heidi, you're delicious. Kenny, you're too good looking for me, man.